Hi everyone, I'm really excited to share this video to give an update what's going on this week. It's April 23rd, well actually April 24th. It's past midnight here. I was thinking of making this recording because this week is a TCB Workshop, which is updates from FCC of the United States and ISED Canada. Really important for the tech industry and getting certified in North America. And I'm excited to just talk a little bit about it and just give an overview. It's things already out there in the public, so nothing really secretive or anything, but I thought it would be great to just make a video of this, giving an update, a preview what's going to be happening, and hopefully I'll be able to give some updates throughout. So very excited to be able to do this in my time right now. I've been in this industry for over 22 years and have worked with the leading manufacturers for FCC compliance and ISED Canada compliance, all sorts of manufacturers throughout the years. So I'm going to give a little preview of what the agenda, and this is on their website, so there's nothing new. So here is the website where you can find out more information about the TCB Council, and the membership, and the agenda even is on here, which is really great. So anybody in the public can see what's going to be happening. But to attend in person or virtually, if you're not able to make it to Baltimore, you can register and attend. It's going to be downtown Baltimore, which is pretty much 15 minutes away from where I live. I live in Baltimore, just near the outskirts of the city. So on this page, there's a agenda where you can click on this. It has a sort of succinct agenda here. If you just scroll down here, here's the very first day. This is really the meat of the meeting. It usually begins with NIST, and usually really great updates from Ramona and Natalie, just what's going on with not only the United States and Canada, but just mutual recognitions around the world in different countries, and where other countries are at with the United States. And for the morning, hopefully Canada can make it today, because I heard there's a strike or something, and maybe they can or cannot make it. So hopefully we'll get these updates. Usually they're really important. And then Michael Derby, I worked with him at Element for a little bit, and he's the leading expert for everything RAD and UK. So really pay attention to what he's going to say. He data dumps a lot, but he's really great if you're ever asking questions directly. Just a really wealth of knowledge there. Lastly, over here with the KDB sharing session, this is very useful. I worked with Greg. He used to work with me at PC Test when I used to work there, and one of the things he does for the TCB Council is just sharing just various inquiries that have been submitted to the FCC. There's just hundreds of inquiries that the FCC gets from various manufacturers and labs and whoever, and a lot of times common topics are sent to them, and this is really just a great way for the council to just serve the industry by sharing the same knowledge. And obviously this has to be volunteered by different labs and manufacturers, but it's just great to just see what the FCC has said for a common topic, so we're all on the same page. We're not doing one thing different from another. So that's always very useful. So Wednesday's session is pretty jam-packed. It's all FCC. And just a couple updates from these familiar faces here. I don't know exactly what they're going to share here. Usually, probably the day before, we get a new KDB publications, or maybe PowerPoints and what they're going to present. But right now it's even before Monday, so I have no idea what they're going to share. One of the things that I've always worked with is PAG processing. This is multiple PAG processing, which just means a lot of new tech that still requires FCC intervention. A lot of novel technologies like Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 7, whatever it is. There's a huge list that's on the FCC website, and really just requires a lot of work up front and also work throughout for TCBs to really help manufacturers get things certified properly. So I'm sure there'll be some interesting updates from Alfonso from that. Tim Harrington and Alfonso, I've worked with them for a while. I'm sure they'll give some fresh updates and things to look out for TCBs and manufacturers. And Jake, we used to work together at PC Test. I hired him when he was a young engineer, and now he's off to the big leagues with FCC, just giving updates for the whole industry. So really excited. Hopefully we'll see him in person there, just giving some new updates and the latest things going on. And one of the hot topics is covered equipment, which is basically a mandate from FCC to the TCBs to keep a watchful eye for various manufacturers that pose a risk to national security. So as TCBs are reviewing schematics, operational descriptions, and even applicants themselves for some telecommunications equipment, they have to put extra effort in order to make sure that as they're reviewing things, that there's no equipment that's inside the device, nor are they devices that are subject to the covered equipment requirements according to FCC 2284. And they've been updating this. It's been a pretty important issue, rightly so. So really interested to hear what updates George and Dana have to share. But there hasn't been very much clear guidance exactly what to look out for. But the guidance from downtown FCC has been mainly to, if you find suspicion, then you have to raise it to FCC. You have to raise it to the government. And I think that's a good approach. It's a cautious approach, better safe than sorry. So it's really in the interest of national security. So this is something that's not going to go away. So you really need to use a TCB that really pays attention to this. And there's other requirements like having an agent in the U.S. and just making sure that things are always updated and really secure for the public. So Thursday's a couple of industry presentations here. Again, Michael Derby always giving some very insightful presentations. A couple of newer technologies or different things from around the world are very useful to the industry. These are always very helpful. Actually, I know my colleague was about to present with Semtech about this time-averaged presentation with a sensor. I think that would be some pretty interesting presentation about the interplay between time-averaged RF exposure or SAR with proximity sensors, which are pretty much technologies that sense human touch on a product, so that when the device senses someone interacting with the product close by, there's mechanisms in place for it to know that and cut the power or adjust the power of the transmitter in order to keep the end user safe. And they've come up with done a lot of hard work to ensure that things are done well. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. And Jag over in Qualcomm, he's one of the experts, with the time-averaged smart transmit technologies, and wrap up here about this. But yep, so I'm pretty excited for this week. I've always went to these meetings, whether in person or during the pandemic when we're virtual. Just really important topics covered. But I'm looking forward to just taking everything, just focusing, and hopefully sharing some, sort of Cliff Notes version, so to speak. Some of you maybe couldn't make it or just didn't know this was going on. So really just looking forward to some information sharing and just, and even if you have other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, looking forward to this week, and see you all or talk to you all later.